What is going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 35, and today we are proving you don't have to be smart to make a lot of money. We have a very special guest with us, Mr. Randy Hedge. I'm Jordan.
I'm Presley.
And let's get this thing rolling.
Amen. Amen.
And I'm the guy that's not very smart. Yeah, is that what we're?
I don't know why that's what came to my head after you gave me some.
Very accurate. Look, I graduated with 19 people in my high school class. I graduated in the top 20 of my class.
That's awesome. Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah, I know. You know what kept me out of Harvard? High school.
But guys, we are going over some network marketing. Really, Randy's story in network marketing. He's been one of the top earners in any company he's been at, and him and Presley have worked together for 30-ish years now. So this will definitely go over how these guys have been so successful at what they do and how they have made the bulk of their money over the years. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get it going, Presley.
Does that mean you're ready?
That means I'm ready.
I love the way he said, I think you're going to enjoy it.
I think so.
That vote of confidence.
No, it's a vote of confidence.
Yeah.
Well, if you've watched episode 33 and 34 now,
you
know what you're getting into. So this shouldn't be new.
Fair enough.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Are you ready?
I am fired up, hitting all 8 cylinders. Let's roll.
My gosh, he's ready. Well, hey, guys, it is a pleasure to be here with you guys for this episode, and we have one of the top networkers in the world. And it's not just some flash in the pan thing. He has been a top networker for 30 plus years. So we're excited to pick his brain, and you get where you can understand what's going on in the network marketing world. And we're going to give you some good stuff, get you something to write with, and let's get ready to go. Randy Hedge, tell people a little of your network marketing story.
One of those guys who never thought I would do network marketing, that I would ever be part of one of those pyramid things. Now, this is coming from a guy who was in the insurance industry. I had 2 insurance agencies at the time, 3 different offices. So, let's be honest, insurance is one of the biggest pyramids out there, right? I tell people all the time, if you're married, you're in a pyramid, and your wife's probably at the top, and you're doing whatever she says. Network marketing, direct sales, MLM has a bad reputation. And part of that is because there have been some bad players in the industry, right? But the reality is it is the greatest opportunity for someone to start with very little capital and build something that has the potential to be life-changing. It has been for me. So I'm selling insurance, doing pretty good in a little small town. And a guy I go to church with told me that I could get paid when people paid their phone bill. Well, sounded good, but how in the world can you get paid on someone's phone bill? It didn't make sense. So I had to do a little studying, and then you wanted to make sure that it actually was a savings for the customer. And that's what started me on this journey. And for 30 plus years, I've never sold a product. It's always been a service. We started out with long distance back when they broke AT&T up. Did very well with that company. And then this best friend of mine sitting right here beside me called me up and said, hey, man, we can get paid on people's electric bills the same way. And so I transitioned, been with that company in one form or another for over 20 years. And it's amazing. I mean, it's a pretty special life to get paid when people pay their cell phone bill, their internet bill, their home security bill. Imagine helping people save money on their electric and natural gas. And now we ventured into an alternative to health insurance. So for me, it wasn't about pills or potions or lotions. And look, there's some great companies out there that have great products. But coming from an insurance background, I understood getting a customer one time and then get paid every time they pay their bill. That made sense.
Right. And
to get paid every month when they pay their cell phone bill or their internet bill or their health sharing membership. That's why I still do it. It's why I'm still excited. And I got to tell you, without a doubt, it's been the biggest driver of my income over the years. I've made more money doing that than everything else combined.
It's been pretty special.
It's been very special.
You get to meet nice people, too.
You do. Get to hang around with some cool folks.
Yeah, kind of like Jordan. I always tell people that, you're going to grow as a person. I love that part of it. You're going to make a lot of friends, and you're going to help people. And when you can make money doing those things, it's pretty special. I know through the years, Randy, people always come up to me and say, who do I go after? Who do I try to get in my business? How do I do it? Who do I talk to? Talk a little bit about prospecting, if you would. Where do you get your new business partners?
Here's the deal. If I could tell you who could, I retired years ago, right? I mean, there's no crystal ball. I learned a long time ago that a dud can lead you to a dud that takes you to a dud that knows a full-grown stud. So I really don't filter anyone out. Now, if I was to draw up my perfect prospect, it's someone who wants to change their life. That's first and foremost, that they're just sick and tired of having more month than money, not being able to pay the bills, not living life on their terms, stranger raising their kids. You find me someone with a big enough why, and then everything else falls into place. Now, if they have some previous entrepreneurial experience, that's a plus. They know how to build a business. If they've been a teacher, a coach, they understand building teams and educating people and encouraging them and working with them, that seems to be a plus. And then if they're successful already, they're bringing that credibility with them. And I don't mean just financially. Maybe they've taught Sunday school for 30 years, or they've served on the PTA or the school board. So, yeah, there are certain indicators that someone can do well. But what I've learned, Presley, is I just talk to them all and let them sort themselves, because you never know how hungry they are. You never know who they know. Right? I mean, my business is successful because I talked to someone who didn't do a whole lot, but referred me to someone who did absolutely nothing, but referred me to someone who just did a little, who referred me to someone who was truly hungry, willing to work, they were coachable, and that person literally has made me millions. And that's kind of the way it goes. So prospecting, 6 foot rule. If they get within 6 foot, ask them, hey, man, do you look for other ways to make money? You keep your options open. What if I could show you how to get paid when people pay their cell phone bill? Just simple little openers. And look, if they're as you call them, a cold fish, a dead fish, they don't answer, or nah, whatever.
Or a cucumber.
Just move on, next. Because there are people out there right now praying for a way to put their child in private school, praying for a way to pay off those credit cards. They're looking, and there's no greater opportunity than aligning yourself with an established, proven, ethical direct sell company.
Yeah, and there's lots of them out there.
There's a bunch.
There's a bunch of them out there. Talk real quick, since we're talking prospecting, about how you handle rejection.
I think that's one of the biggest problems for most people. And it's not, for me, the rejection is not so bad. If they go, I'm not interested, I can live with that, right? I love chocolate, but not everybody eats chocolate. It don't bother me if you don't like chocolate. So rejection doesn't bother me. What bothers me are the negative people, the naysayers that want to tear it down. And, look, the company's lawyers cringe every time I say I'm in a pyramid, right? But it's a pyramid. But so is AT&T. So is Ford Motor Credit. I don't know what your job is. I don't know what you do, but there's somebody above you that does less and makes more. You're in some type of pyramid. Now, people go, well, I own my own business. Well, guess what? You're serving the customers. You're serving your employees. We all serve someone. So if someone says, well, that's one of those scams, that's when I have trouble and I have to deal with it. And to be honest, I used to try to educate them and set them straight, but what I've kind of come to learn is if you wrestle with a pig, you're both going to get muddy, and the pig probably enjoys it, just move on if they're not open, if they're not interested. Now, you can tell a lot by their tone, right? If they say, well, is this one of those schemes? You know, I've heard they're being genuine, then I'll try to explain. If they're really sarcastic and negative, I go, hey, you know what? This probably isn't for you. You have a great day. And I move on. So there are negative responses, but you know what? If you're a preacher, you have negative responses. If you're a car salesman, if you're a doctor, I can't think of a single profession, business that doesn't get some sort of negative feedback.
Well, there's always haters.
Always.
It doesn't really matter what profession you're in. There is always haters. All right, give folks a couple of inviting tips. You know, what do you say to people? You're sitting down at a restaurant and the waiter or the waitress has a good personality. They're doing a nice job. You think, hey, I think they could do well in my business. What do you say?
The first thing I want to try to do is build rapport. You know, if you'll just ask enough questions, they'll tell you why they want to join your business. You know, hey, you've done a great job of taking care of us here. You know, do you think you'll always be in the hospitality industry as a server? Oh, no, I'm just making enough money to go to school. Well, why do you want to go to school? Well, I want to learn to be a gerbil wrangler. I want to have my own gerbil ranch out in Montana. You know, they're going to tell you, or I want to stay home and raise my kids. I'm sick of this job. And so I just listen to what they're saying. You know, how long have you done that? Do you enjoy doing that? Does your mama know you do that? Just build a rapport, just ask questions. And at some point they're going to say, well, what do you do? And I said, man, it is so strange you ask. I teach people how to build a gerbil farm out in Montana for free, you know? So you're just answering their solution. Prospecting is really just connecting with people. That's all it is. When I made the decision that I'm not out there trying to sell people, convince them, I don't even really like the term prospecting. I'm just out there trying to make a friend. And if what I do works for that friend, great. If not, I still got a friend.
And I'll throw one thing in there, guys. I saw it at work after dinner tonight with the security system salesman that was just sitting there.
Sharp young man, yeah.
Definitely. No, so these guys, they have a lot of knowledge, but they actually do what they say, which I feel like some people don't on the internet. So, you know, guys, take some of this knowledge and learn how to do this stuff, because you're getting, you know, to listen to the best in the business.
Now, I did make a mistake. If I was hungrier, if I really wanted to connect and work with that young man, I would have got his name and number instead of just giving him my information. Say, hey, go check this out. If you like it, contact me. To truly be a professional in this, the fortune, as you know, Presley, is in the follow-up, right? If the gentleman I went to church with hadn't come back to me 2 or 3 times about the long distance, I would have never done it. I was interested the first time, but I blew it off. And the second time, I looked at a little bit of the stuff, but, you know, life gets in the way. The fortune is in the follow-up. So the one mistake I did make tonight, Jordan, I visited with him. I gave him my website, told him, hey, if it makes sense, reach out. If I had really wanted to be a professional about it, I would have got his name and number. And then tomorrow I would have sent him a text. Hey, did you look at that? What'd you think? You know, let's talk. Because it all comes down to the connection.
No.
I mean, you're building a team. You're mentoring, helping, working with people. So if you don't have that connection, that relationship, it's hard. So, yeah, I prospected. I made a new friend, but I could have done it a little better. And I think that just goes back to the level of success we have now, being a little lazy, you know. But follow-up is the key to be successful in prospecting.
No, absolutely. Okay, I want you to hit this from 2 angles. Presenting your business opportunity to people. I want you to go old school, and then I want you to talk about, basically, since COVID came along, how we use Zooms.
When we first started this, I mean, it was all about, you know, in-home meetings, hotel meetings when the homes got too small, and then large conventions, and, you know, you brought the troops together and you explained what you were doing, and that worked very well. But I think there's been a dynamic shift in society, not just because of COVID, but I think COVID was the the final straw. You know, people work all day, they're trying to take care of kids, and the last thing they want to do is go over to a friend's house to hear about an opportunity, right? So everything was kind of moving online. It was getting to be more where, you know, there were things like Zoom and FaceTime, and you could talk to people, but we really didn't adopt it or understand it, the power of it, until COVID came along. And so out of necessity, I had to figure out a different way of doing business. And, oh my gosh, I think back to that first Zoom I ever did, it was horrible. And if you had told me now that I'd be on TikTok, you know, telling people about what I do, and social media has been a great prospecting tool because I don't try to prospect on social media. I try to connect, right? And I tell people, hey, look, you know, I do this, and yeah, I got a few cows, and yeah, I've invested in some car dealerships, and I've done this. And so I just kind of give my background. And I say, but if you want to know how I make my big money, if you want to know, you know, my real business, reach out. I'll share it with you. Or go to this website. Or I keep it very, I think too many people oversell. It's a great opportunity. You can make a lot of money. You can buy your life back. You don't have to oversell that. So old school, for me at least, has changed tremendously. I mean, you know, I can do one TikTok live in the morning and talk to 10,000 people. Well, I wouldn't cover that many people, meet that many people in a year's time for one-on-ones and in-homes. Now, if we truly go back to what I said earlier, there's still a place and a need for that, because you can only build social connections so deep until you actually meet, break bread, have a cup of coffee together. But I've got some amazing friends who I never would have known if it hadn't have been for social media, and we've yet to meet face to face, and we've made them quite a bit of money. So it is possible, and it's a changing dynamic. I'm all in on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, not so much. Facebook is kind of like a community bulletin board, right? Yeah. Where I find, especially TikTok, more of a one-on-one connection. They see the video, they see the live, they feel like you're talking to them. They can talk to you directly. It's just seems like a more pure connection, even more so for me than Instagram or YouTube.
No, I agree. You know, old school guys, we used to meet somebody one-on-one at a coffee shop and share our opportunity. Sometimes we'd take somebody from our upline with us and make it a 2-on-1. Sometimes we would meet at somebody's house and do a home meeting. There was always a hotel meeting going on at some point in time that you could get prospects to. So there was always some way that you could get people to a different location and show them a presentation. Now, because of Zoom and all that stuff, you can just cover so many more people so much faster. I mean, it's like you can sit in your kitchen and get your laptop out and be showing people a presentation all over the country at the same time. I agree with Randy that every once in a while you need to have a big convention or something to get people together, because I agree that there's nothing like knowing somebody well enough to give them a big hug or give them a high five and, you know, go out and have a meal with them. Yep. But, you know, the times have changed, and you can just get in front of so many more people with Zooms and stuff. I mean, infinitely more people.
Oh, I had 89 people on my Zoom last night from all over the country, all walks of life, you know, different time zones, and within an hour or so, got to share some amazing information and made connections. And if look, I've said it on one of the previous podcasts, but I believe this: if you are not learning how to use online, you are the new illiterate. You know, we used to call people who couldn't read or write illiterate. If you don't know how to connect, how to monetize, how to socialize, because, Jordan, you know this, y'all's generation, the first thing you do when you meet somebody is you go check them out, right?
100%. You
go look at their web page, you go to look at their Instagram, you check out whatever. And that's just getting more and more prevalent as the generations come up.
So I learned maybe 2 years ago, somebody told me that whenever you meet somebody now, like if you meet a girl, you don't get their number anymore. You get their socials.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you get.
Oh, I saw a deal the other day, and I love this. Someone was asking, they were saying, look, I'm in my 20s, I'm single, I'm interested in dating. How do you attract someone? How do you find someone, worthwhile, especially in this social media age? And the response was brilliant. I've stole it. I use it like my own now. But they said, imagine you wanted a butterfly. There's two ways you can get a butterfly. You can grab a net and go running around like a fool trying to snag one, or you can build a beautiful garden and they will come to you. And that, to me, is what being successful in any business is, right? If you're working on you, if you're improving your attitude, if you're making a better version of yourself, you're going to attract the people you want in your life versus running around trying to sell people, So I think that applies to network marketing and prospecting just as much or maybe more so than dating. I loved that analogy. I thought that was great.
All right, I'll tell you right now, I'm stealing that one.
It's good.
That's
stuff.
good stuff.
I stole it from somebody.
Yeah.
So do you give Randy credit 3 times, or do you give the somebody credit 3 times?
I don't know the somebody, so I'll give him credit 3 times, and then it's mine.
I bet you I don't even get 2.
Okay, I'll give you at least 2, Hedge.
Okay.
I'll say I got this from my best buddy, Randy Hedge. We touched on this a while ago, but deep dive into it just a little bit more because I agree with you that the fortune is in the follow-up. If you don't follow up, you're going to struggle in the network marketing profession.
What most people don't understand, and I didn't for the longest, it's really not about what you tell them. It's not about how great the presentation is or how awesome the compensation or maybe you run that has very little to do with it. It's about the time in their life, where they're at. I'll give you a prime example. You go to talk to your brother-in-law, and right before you get there, I mean like 30 minutes before you get there, his boss calls him up and says, Billy Bob, you are killing this moon pie business. You are doing so good. You're selling so many moon pies. We're going to make you regional divisional manager. We're going to double the territory, and you get a 10% pay raise. I don't care what you tell Billy Bob. He ain't interested. He just got an attaboy, a pat on the back. He is now in management, and he got a pay raise. There ain't a storm cloud in the world looking at him. He's happy. So no matter what you offer him, right? Same guy, same job 6 months later. Because they've doubled his territory, Billy's having to travel twice as much. He's missing kids' ball games. Now he's in management. They're threatening to fire him because he ain't hitting quotas. And that 10% pay raise don't even begin to cover his additional expenses that they didn't tell him about. Same job, same guy, just a different time in his life. So if you just talk to Billy Bob that one night and you don't follow up. Now, I don't know who taught me this, but it has literally made me millions. Guys, this is gold. Write this down. After I've done a presentation, I look at them and I just say, yes or no. You in or out? You want to do this or not? Because as you know, the yeses are great. The nos are great. What is it that kills you?
Maybes.
Oh, the dreaded, let me think about it. I got to pray about it. I'm going to kill a chicken, bleach the bones, and throw them on the ground and read what they have all these things. So here's what I've learned to do. If they tell me, hey, I need to pray about this, I think you should. You pray about it tonight. I'll call you tomorrow and tell me what you decided. If you got to pray it up over a month, prayer ain't going to help you. We need a decision. So my whole goal anymore is if they're not interested is to get a no. That's all I want them to do is say no. Matter of fact, I've actually get to the point now. I say, look, Presley, I've called you a couple times. You haven't answered. Our friendship's too important. I don't want you avoiding me. I'm just going to write you down as a no. Well, next time I see you, you're going to be like, I never said no, right? I said, no, look, here's all I ask. Can I call you in a month or so and let you know how I'm doing? I'll never ask you to look at this again. I know you don't want to do it. I would just like to give you an update on how it's going for me. Guys, in my 30-plus years, I don't think I've ever had more than 2 people say no. Every one of them goes, yeah, call me, let me know how that thing's going. Yeah, because they don't believe you're going to be doing it too much from now. And no matter what it is you report, every time you call, you're building credibility. Hey, Presley, man, this thing, it's amazing. I just promoted. I got another bonus. I'm so excited. Hey, Presley, this is my 4th month, and, man, I'm struggling. I really thought I'd be further along, but I'm not. But I ain't quitting. I see it. I'm not going to quit. Good, bad, indifferent, every time you call them. And then when that job is threatened or they have an additional expense, something changes in their life, they go, hey, you still doing that thing? Hey, you know. I say, look, I told you I'd never bring it up again. Well, we need to talk about it. They've opened the door. The fortune is in the follow-up. Get a no, and as soon as they give you a no, simply say, would it be okay if I just called you every now and then and let you know how I'm doing? I know you're never going to be a part of it. I know it's not for you. I respect that. But I would like you to kind of be my accountability partner. I'd like to give you the feedback of how it's going. Works every time.
Amen. The guy sitting over here to the right is a living example of a follow-up.
Multiple follow-ups.
When I talked to him about our business, he was going through a lot in his life. Didn't want to get involved. Didn't want to even talk about it really. And it took me like 5 months of following up, and he finally obviously got in, and I think he's real happy he did. But it's one of those things where I agree with everything Randy said there. If they say they want to pray about it, great. You pray about it. I'll call you tomorrow, and you let me know what you've decided. Oh, you want to talk to your spouse? Great. You should talk to your spouse. You talk to your spouse tonight. I'll call you tomorrow, and you let me know what you've decided. I don't care. Excuse me. I don't care what they say. Great. You do that. I'll call you tomorrow, and you let me know what you've decided. And then if I call them the next day and they still don't have an answer, I'll go, listen, I work with 3 people at a time. I just need to know if you're going to be one of the 3. Kind of like what you said. Yes is fine. No is fine. I just need to know one of them. Either one works for me. The other thing I've been doing lately is doing Zooms. We're rocking along in this social media world, but I've been doing Zooms. And like last night, I had like 4 people on a Zoom, and I was showing them what's going on with our company. And at the end, I said, okay, here's your job. Here's what I want out of all 4 of you guys. And, their names on the screen on their little box, So I said Billy and Sue, and, I called all 4 of them out. I said, as soon as we get off here, I want you to text me your name with a 1, a 2, or a 3.
Right.
1, you're in. You're ready to roll. 2, you're interested, but you got some questions. Or 3, thanks for your time, but this just isn't for me. And I have started ending my Zooms with that. And I say each of them, now listen, all I ask you to do is you text me. Text me your name and 1, 2, or 3. And I tell you what, I've been getting a lot of success out of that. As far as that's more of a closing technique, but it's a little bit of follow up there. And if they don't text me, I'll call them one more time. I'm not going to chase people though. We're just looking for the ones that are looking. Speaking of 1, 2, or 3, that's kind of going into closing. Talk a little bit about how do you close somebody? You're sitting there talking to them. You show them the presentation. What do you do to close them?
I learned from one of the very best early on. We called her Mamaw. She was just that matronly grandmother type, kind of like an Aunt Bee. And she had done very well in network marketing. She joined my business. And it was amazing to watch her work with people. When she sat down with them, she'd say, okay, baby, you ready to start making some money? And no matter what they said, well, I don't know if I can do this. That's all right. Mamaw going to help you. Come on, let's just fill out the form. Let me show you. Well, but I don't know that many people. Mamaw can teach you how to meet people. Come on, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you. I have never done anything like this before. That's okay. Mamaw's done it a lot. Come on, let me show you how easy it is to get your first check. Let me show you. She just loved them and encouraged them into the business. And the epiphany that I had, that's a big word for me, Jordo.
It is.
Epiphany.
Yep.
Don't ask me to spell it.
I was literally about to ask that.
Was that she was solidifying. She was restating over and over and over they weren't by themselves, that Mamaw was going to help. Mamaw knows how. Mamaw can do this. You know, is it easier for a child to learn to walk just on their own with no one in the room, or with a bunch of people around them encouraging them and clapping and feeding them that? And it just dawned on me that to be a good closer, you have to let them know that they're not alone, that they're part of the team. It's your job to help them, not do it for them, right? If you go pick that kid up and carry him over to the chair, he still ain't learned to walk. They got to do it themselves. But you're there to pick them up when they fall down. You're there to encourage them, to brush them off, to maybe hold their hand those first couple of steps and then let go. If you'll take that analogy and put it into closing, people need encouragement. People need to know that you will help them. Now, I make it real clear for my whole team. I only help those that ask. I ain't going to beg you to get rich with me. I learned I could run with 10,000 easier than I could drag one. You and I have said that for years. I wonder who originally said that. Do you know who we got that from?
I did.
Oh, you wrote that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I kind of doubt that one. I doubt that. But, man, isn't it powerful? And
It
it's
is
truthful.
very powerful.
I'm not going to beg you to get rich with me. I'm not going to drag you along. Steve Fisher, another one of our friends, a legend in this industry. He always said, look, I'll crawl with the crawlers. I'll walk with the walkers. I'll jog with the joggers. I'll run with the runners. But I ain't going to sit with you sitters.
Nope.
And so he let everyone have their own pace, but he made the point, you got to do your part. And unfortunately, now in our society, there's so many people don't even want to do their part. They feel like they're entitled or you should do it for them. So you're definitely looking for a special type person that's willing to. All it takes is you got to be coachable, willing to work, and persistent. Nowhere in there do I talk about education, connections, ability. You know, you can learn everything you need to know in this industry, but I can't teach you to be coachable. I can't teach you to work. And I can't teach you resilience, persistence, commitment. Those are traits you have to bring to the game. But if you bring those to the game, we can turn a pig's ear into a silk purse every time.
Did you like that one, Jordan?
I like it. It's always something.
Pig's ear into a silk purse.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been around for ages. All right, we've prospected them. We've shown them We've invited them, shown them presentations, followed up with them, closed them. They're in. How important is it when you get a new business partner in your company to get them off to a quick start?
Oh, I mean, it's more important than getting them enrolled. You know, what good does it do to have someone join your team if you can't get them some success, some belief?
Right.
And that's really all that first check or that first bonus or first promotion is. And that is ultimately your responsibility as the sponsor, as the upline. And the way I explain that, going back to the child analogy, it is criminal, absolutely criminal to birth a child and just throw them out there and say, okay, go for it, Junior, figure it out. No, you got to nurture that child and love on that child and protect it, feed it, hold it, you know. Now, I also think it's just as criminal if that child is 15 years old and you're still tying his tennis shoes up, right? I mean, he has to learn independence. She has to learn responsibility, but there is a progress there. And as we know in kids, some kids mature quicker than others. You might have to help someone a little longer than you help the next guy. But yeah, getting them some success, getting them a sense of accomplishment. And that might be something as simple as just helping them talk to a prospective client or to do a Zoom with them. You've got to get them believing in themselves. Because I promise you, every person that joins any business, their first thing is, if I made a mistake,
Oh, yeah.
can I really do this? You know, how many times have you bought a vehicle, Jordan, and you just love it, and then the next day you go, why did I spend that money? Do I really need this?
I have done that more than most, I would say.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. What do they call it? They've got a term for it, buyer's remorse, right?
Buyer's remorse.
And now, imagine this. They're all excited. They've looked at it, and they go to work, and they tell a couple of their buddies, and they go, oh, my God, you're in one of them things. I've heard about them. That's one of them things. You're in a pyramid. You're in a scam. The first lady I ever told my business about, I'll never forget, as I'm explaining it to her, she looks at me and she goes, you're going to jail or hell one, boy. And I said, Mama. So even your family is going to see that some negativity to it. Just be ready for that.
Yeah, and if you pick a good company, there's a lot of companies, guys, that have literally been around for 100 years, 50 years.
Yep.
You know, when somebody says, is that one of those scams, is that one of those pyramids, they're really saying, is it legal?
Yes.
Is it legal? Well, you know, most companies, not all, there's some startups, but most companies have been around 20, 30, 40 years. Well, I'm telling you, they would have figured out if it was some kind of scam but by now. You know, it's just one of those things that, you know, they're really just saying, is it legal or not? So you just got to learn to handle it. I think it was you that used to say this, Randy. You'd go, well, do you like pyramids? You do? Then, oh, this is a real good one. You don't like pyramids? No, this ain't no pyramid. I mean,
No, here's the way I do it. I'd say, they'd go, is this a pyramid? I go, do you like pyramids? Yeah, I've made some money in them. You'll love this one. They'd say, is this a pyramid? You like pyramids? No. You'll love this. It's different. And it is, right? Every pyramid I'd ever seen, you had to buy product and hold it. I mean, look, I can't tote around no kilowatts. I don't have any cell phone minutes in my pocket, right? I'm offering a service. That just resonated through and through with me. But talking about you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, I'd done a 5-day loop. I'd hit 3 or 4 cities. My flight is delayed. I'm stuck in this airport. I'm ready to get home. I'm pissed off. I'm sitting up at the bar. I'm having a $33 hot dog, a $12 bag of chips, and a $17 Diet Coke. You know, my mood is bad. This kid comes bebopping up beside me and flops down. He's probably in his 20s, right? He goes, how you doing? Just Joe Cheery, right? And I go, no, I'm all right, you know. And he goes, well, what do you do? I thought, I'm going to run him off, right? I said, I'm in a pyramid. I go around promoting, you know, the pyramid deal. He goes, I love those. Are you making any money? And next thing you know, I end up signing this kid up, right, when I tried to run him off. So, look, guys, if someone is really looking and if they're open to talk to you, you really ain't about what you say. It ain't how you say it. It's about where they're at in their life, the time in their life. That's a fact.
Yeah, and the thing I'd add here is that, understand, people join people.
Oh, yeah.
They don't join companies. Now, obviously, you need a company that's got a solid reputation and all that. I'm not saying it has no importance, but I'm going to tell you this. People join people. All right.
Quit running around with that net trying to catch them and just build you a garden. They'll come to you.
That's it. I told you I'm stealing that.
That's good stuff, baby. That is stronger than 100 acres of garlic right there.
I already knew that one, so I don't have to steal that one.
I like that one.
You know, we don't have near as...
100 acres of garlic, you know, strong smell.
Okay.
Didn't resonate.
A little bit.
Yeah. I'll try. I'll keep trying.
Yeah.
I've been trying to ask this same question for like 3 or 4 minutes now, and it's not getting anywhere.
You've already forgot the question.
I probably have, but anyway.
The floor is yours.
Mine. Thank
It's all
you.
yours.
Thank you. You know, in today's world, we don't have as many meetings and stuff, but there are big events that every company that I know of have. How important is it for people to get to the big events?
It goes back to the thing we were talking about with that brand new associate. It's about belief, right? I remember the very first convention I went to, and I'm setting up at the very top in the nosebleed, and, you know, I'm looking around all these people and thinking, this thing must be working, or there's a lot of crazy people here. I mean, because there were thousands. And then every time someone would walk out on stage and they'd tell their story, I'm like, well, I can relate to that, or that makes it. By the time of the convention was over, like, I can do this. I'm going to be on that stage. I can. It's just that belief building experience that you cannot have any other way, right? I'll give you an example. You can watch every video there is about the Grand Canyon. You can look at all the pictures there are about the Grand Canyon. You can talk to people who have been to the Grand Canyon. But until you walk up and look at that majestic, big old ditch in front of you, I mean, words cannot do it justice. No. Pictures cannot do it justice. It's something you have to experience. That would be my analogy for the conventions.
Yeah. You know, and I kind of talk about it in terms of, you know, you can watch the Super Bowl on TV. You can think the Super Bowl's just another football game. But if you go to the Super Bowl, you can feel the atmosphere. There's something that you can't duplicate in your living room. If you go to the big events, good things are going to happen. I kind of like Randy was. I remember my first big event was at the Anatole in Dallas. It was in the ballroom. There's probably 4,500 people there. And I guarantee you, to this day, I could get you within about 5 feet of the chair where my chair was sitting, because it had such a profound effect on me. Kind of like Randy was saying, I'm watching all those people, and they're getting promoted, and their lives have changed, and I mean, just on and on. Right there, I made a decision that next year I'm going to be up on that stage. And it all happened at that event. And what the events mainly do, and you know this, Randy, it just, your belief level goes through the roof. You start seeing a bunch of people that look a whole lot like you, and they're having success, and they're having fun, and they're changing their lives, and you start going, I can do that. Well, the last thing, you know, I'm going to bring up here for us is what kind of mindset do you think it takes to be a success in the network marketing profession?
The same mindset it takes to be a success as a daddy, as a husband, as a believer. It's a word that I use a lot now in my life that I think just exemplifies it, and that's called grit. Just determination, perseverance, resilience, focus, commitment, a work ethic. You're not a quitter. You can put all those together, right? You can shake them all up. You throw in a little bit of a positive attitude and a grateful heart, and that for me is someone with grit. I think one of the highest compliments anyone could ever give me is say, that old boy had some grit. That old boy, he stuck when everybody else was folding. He ain't a whiner. He ain't a quitter. So the neat deal about everything I just talked about are choices. They're skills. You're not born with grit. You're not born with perseverance or positivity. Matter of fact, I think most of us are born to be negative, whiny, complaining people. That's why there's so many of them in the world, right? It's hard to be positive. It's harder to be grateful. It's harder to be uplifting and supportive and encouraging. You know, there's a lot more planes land every day than there are that one that crashes. But that's the only one you hear about on the news is the one that crashed, not all the successful. And we're like that as a race, as people. It's in our nature. To fight against that nature, that's what makes someone successful. And some people call it focus, determination. I think the word that exemplifies it all, grit. Give me an old gal with grit. Give me a boy with grit, and, man, we can go a long ways.
Yeah. No, I think you can even go back to coaching. And, you know, when I was coaching, I used to call it heart. they got that heart of a champion. Well, I think kind of a synonym for grit. But it's all about us making a decision that we're going to change our lives. And if we'll make a decision and then commit to seeing the job through and start taking action, then good things are going to happen in our life. I firmly believe that if we'll make that full commitment, and Guy, Kenny Trout used to say all the time, he'd say, the reason more people aren't successful is because they're only halfway in. Yeah. And if you're halfway in, that also means you're halfway out. Guys, I think it takes a commitment, and that's in traditional business, that's in networking, that's in anything you want to do. If you want to do it big, you got to decide that you're going to do it, then you got to make a commitment, you're going to see it through, and then you got to start taking massive and immediate action. And guys, if you'll do that, if you'll follow the tips that Randy just gave us, you will have some success.
I agree.
That's all you got to say.
That's all I got to say.
And I'll throw this in closing. This is important.
Hey, it's your floor.
If you decide to do network marketing, it's going to be one of the most miserable, difficult, disappointing, disillusioning activities you ever do. But it beats a job. It beats working for some other clown. Be your own boss. Control your life. Yeah, there's challenges. Yeah, there's down times. But I am so thankful that for my whole adult life, I've decided what I'm worth. I've decided who I work with. I've decided when I work, how I dress when I work. Guys, that freedom, you can't put a price tag on that. To live your life on your terms. Now, it's tough, and it ain't easy, but it is simple. You see, that's what I love about network marketing is anybody that is coachable, willing to work, and got some grit, they can make it.
Amen. Amen.
That's it.
We'll end with that.
We will end with that, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in again for the one and only Randy Hedge. And he is smarter than he looks. I'll give him a little credit. But
yeah, but that ain't said a whole lot either, right? The way I look to say I'm smarter than I look, that even leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah. So, guys, we're so fortunate to have Randy. He will also have one more episode coming up next week to complete this 4-episode series with Randy. And I hope you guys are getting as much out of this as I am, because I know just going over the last 2 episodes and this one, I have learned stuff, which is awesome and why we do this.
Amen. Amen. Thanks for being here, brother.
I'm loving it.
We love you. Love you.
Love you. Thank y'all.